asking some serious shit now. Basically, look, what is the idea of a nation? You know, what does it mean? What is so sacrosanct about it? To some people, the nation is like God. Okay. When India became independent, the day it became independent, it was at war. I mean, there is a whole history of how the independence struggle was waged, and I would say that the way it is taught, both in India and in Pakistan, very differently, both deeply dishonest. Both deeply dishonest. Now, I'm not going to go into Pakistan, but in India, from the time we became independent, we became a colonizing power. You know, so there was Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Kashmir, Hyderabad, Junagadh, Goa, and ever since then, the Indian Army has been deployed against, quote unquote, its own people, you know, and much of the violence has been repressed. I'm not going to give a history lesson here, but I just want to say that what happens is that even the liberal left intellectuals will say that whatever has happened, the tens of thousands of people that have been killed, is an aberration. I will say that there is a structural flaw in the way we imagine ourselves and in the way we negotiate, you know? And like you take something like the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, which was started off in Manipur to control one district, now it's all across the northeast, it's all across Kashmir, and they are negotiating to have some version of it in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and Orissa, where the Indian Army is about to be deployed against the poorest people in the world. You know? So there's something very wrong. Culturally too, we are not homogeneous. You know, if we look at the debates between Gandhi and Ambedkar, they are devastating, you know, and what we choose to highlight and what we choose to hide is what constitutes intellectual dishonesty. And I think we really need to open these up. We really need to air them, debate them, and come up with at least the beginnings, the building blocks of a kind of intellectual honesty with which we then begin to imagine what kind of people we want to be. See, today we call ourselves a democracy, but I keep saying, tell me one institution in India, tell me one democratic institution where a poor person can go and expect justice. Doesn't exist. You cannot go to a police station.
Same thing in Pakistan.
Okay. I don't want to say things you can say.
But you could argue that even in a rich country, the poor may not get justice.
No, you can, but look, in India, I mean, you're provoking me.
What I'm saying is it's a work in progress.
It is not.
And
you know,
just one more point.
Okay.
Geopolitically, any large country which doesn't have an opening to the sea, but is contiguous to other nations, is going to have a situation where in the periphery you will feel isolated. But this is a work in progress. Take any large country. Take a large state in India. In Maharashtra, at the border of Karnataka, there will be a dispute. Does Karnataka would be claiming that part? There'll be, cultural smoke. Lack of clarity. So we could keep talking about it, but
I would concede if it was a work in progress, if there was some progress, but if you're running in the opposite direction, then how do we concede progress? I mean, today we live in a country where 100 people own wealth equivalent of 25% of GDP. 800 million people live on less than 20 rupees a day. But there are more poor people than all of the poorest countries Africa put together. So these are devastating things, and we keep congratulating ourselves instead of correcting ourselves. And now in this last few months, all the things that have been revealed, all they will do is to make up a more acrimonious election campaign. We live with the memory of Gujarat, with the memory of the 84 massacres on the streets of Delhi or Sikhs, nothing happens. You can be a mass murderer and a mass leader simultaneously and call yourself a democracy.
We have just one question, time for just one. Come from behind, please.
Praveen, I would really request the ma'am to choose the person who is going to ask the question. So you can choose anyone.
Hello and good evening, ma'am. I have a very short question. What gave you the urge to write the book, The God of Small Things?
My mommy told me. It's really hard to say. It's really hard to answer that question because it's like what gives somebody the urge to dance or to swim or to sing. It's what I do. I don't know. I don't have a scientific explanation or an answer. It's like that's how it's in my DNA, I think.
Can I take one more?
I think we have a short book reading in Malayalam also.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll also have the book signing happening in a short while. So.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Arundhathi, and I'm reading a small part of the Malayalam translation of The God of Small Things. ഇപ്പോൾ 23 വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് ശേഷം അവളുടെ അച്ഛൻ എസ്തയെ അയമനത്തേക്ക് തന്നെ തിരിച്ചയച്ചു. ഒരു സൂട്ട്കേസിനും കത്തിനുമൊപ്പം. സൂട്ട്കേസ് നിറയെ പുതിയ പരിഷ്കൃത വസ്ത്രങ്ങളായിരുന്നു. ബേബി കൊച്ചമ്മ രാഹേലിന് കത്ത് കാണിച്ചു. ചെറിയ സ്റ്റൈലമായ കോൺവെന്റ് സ്കൂൾ മുതൽ എഴുതിയതായിരുന്നു ആ കത്ത്. പക്ഷേ അതിനടിയിലെ ഒപ്പ് അവരുടെ അച്ഛൻ്റെതായിരുന്നു. ഏറ്റവും ചുരുങ്ങിയത് ആ പേരെങ്കിലും അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെതായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷേ ആ ഒപ്പ് രാഹേൽ തിരിച്ചറിയാൻ ഒരു വഴിയുമില്ലായിരുന്നു. അദ്ദേഹം, അതായത് അവരുടെ അച്ഛൻ, കാർബൺ ബ്ലാക്ക് കമ്പനിയിൽ നിന്ന് വിരമിച്ചു എന്നും ഓസ്ട്രേലിയയിലെ ഒരു സെറാമിക്സ് ഫാക്ടറിയിൽ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി ചീഫ് ആയി ജോലി കിട്ടിയത് കാരണം